I thank the observer for the Interparliamentary Union for her statement. In accordance with General Assembly Resolution 5883 of 9th December 2003, I now call on the observer for the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance to make a statement.
Mr. President, distinguished delegates, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to address the General Assembly today during this debate on a matter which is very close to the mandate of International IDEA. I wish to thank also the Government of Qatar as host of the 6th ICNRD for its continued commitment to the new or restored democracies process and its invaluable contribution to the success of the Doha Conference and its follow-up. IDEA welcomes the establishment of the International Advisory Board of the ICNRD 6, at whose meetings had the honor to participate as an observer, and deems that its program of work 2007-2009 will help ensure continuity between conferences. We think that the new or restored democracies process would further enhance its effectiveness by addressing two issues. The first one is the need to move beyond conferences and link them to actual democracy-building efforts on the ground. In this respect, we welcome Mongolia's example, which sets a best practice for those countries interested to engage in a self-assessment of the state of their democracy. The second issue is the need for the ICNRD process to make better use of concrete experience sharing, including in a South-South perspective, on the challenges and successes of democratic reform processes. IDEA will be pleased to provide inputs to a more operational and targeted way of organizing future ICNRD conferences in line with the Ulaanbaatar Declaration and Plan of Action and the Doha Declaration and Plan of Action. International IDEA welcomes the conclusions and recommendations made by the Secretary General in his report in document A62-296, including the need for facilitating greater coordination in the relationships between the ICNRD and the community of democracies. More broadly, if we set the ICNRD process within the context of the current democracy-building landscape, we had to consider the role of the UN. Democracy is strongly linked to the three pillars of the UN mandate: peace and security, human rights, and development. Democracy as a process of expanding political choice plays a critical role in both achieving each of these goals and reinforcing their interlinkages. There is an increasing awareness that some fundamental objectives of UN work cannot be achieved without addressing the issue of democracy. We stress the need for the UN to take leadership based on its convening power in regaining multilateral credibility for democracy-building assistance. At least three dimensions are critically important in this perspective. The first one is the capacity to take account of the fundamentally political nature of those processes addressed through various UN mechanisms and funds, like the Peacebuilding Commission and the UN Democracy Fund. This requires a careful consideration of the widening range of actors and stakeholders engaged in democracy building. Alongside the involvement of more traditional actors like legislatures, the civil society, the media, other types of actors like political parties play a critical role in democratization, including in post-conflict situations. And the work on and with political parties has actually emerged as one of the most challenging areas in the democracy-building arena over the last years. The second dimension is greater consistency and integration across the board which would enhance the effectiveness and impact of the expanded volume of initiatives carried out in different democracy-building sectors and thematic areas by the UN system. These would lead to supporting policies that are long-term, comprehensive, and responding to a homegrown demand. The last dimension is a coherent and non-prescriptive approach to democracy building, based on the consideration of its links to the three pillars of UN action, and informed by the wealth of recent experiences in a large number of countries, not least in the Global South. This approach could promote more diversified views on democracy and how to develop and sustain it. We welcome the establishment of an International Day of Democracy, and we stand committed to working with the UN and other partners within the framework of our regional country programs to plan for the day so that its celebration can effectively contribute to building democracy on the ground. In conclusion, we confirm ideas availability in further expanding and consolidating the strategic partnership with the UN based on its observership status at the General Assembly. I thank you for your attention.
I thank the observer for the International Institute